Hello, welcome to episode 4 of A Drink with James. Today is National Cognac Day, so I hear, and that means that I'm going to be able to escape this conference room. Rémy Martin is sending a sidecar over. I'm going to get into a sidecar. They're going to take me to some undisclosed location where they're going to have a bottle of cognac for me. I'm going to drink that, and I'm going to answer your questions. Let's go. Before I start drinking and answering the questions that you asked, let me answer some of the questions you haven't asked. 1, why am I not holed up in the conference room? Today is National Cognac Day, and our friends over at Rémy Martin asked if they could kidnap me and put me into one of their sidecars and drive me over to this bar and have me drink Rémy Martin instead of whiskey and answer your questions. And I obviously obliged, so that is why I'm here. 2, how does my hair still look so good after being in a helmet? That, unfortunately, is a trade secret that I cannot share. Okay, Kara, so what can you do to jumpstart your Instagram growth if you hit a plateau? Now, as y'all know, I have this problem. My Instagram growth is at a plateau. I'm basically using these videos to try and get them popular so that y'all will follow me. James Nord, right here. But it's a common problem. I mean, we see this all the time with even our larger influencers. They hit spurts of growth and then it evens off in spurts of growth. And I think what works is that when things stop working, to change something up. So if you're someone who uses a lot of white and bright colors in their Instagram, maybe try for a couple weeks switching to grays or switching to darker colors. If you usually post twice a day, try posting 4 times a day. Just in general, try and change something up, because what doesn't work is just doing the same thing over and over and over again. So you got to change something. Make sure you track it, make sure you figure out what's working, what's not working, and get yourself out of that rut as soon as possible. I mean, there's been a lot of articles recently about like the influencer bubble is bursting and this is all a sham and like this isn't going to work. But like, honestly, they've been writing those articles. They've been writing those articles for years. You know, I don't know what the author was who said, you know, the reports of my death have been grossly exaggerated, or if it was an author at all, but that's just a quote. But it's the same thing for influencers. Like, they've been saying that influencers are going to die for years and years and years. I wouldn't really listen to that so much. I don't think that there's a bubble. I think that certainly we're in a growth period, and that's really exciting. And alongside of growth periods comes people who try and knock you down and try to basically take what we're trying to do here and what y'all are trying to do and shit all over it. So that it doesn't seem legitimate, but I would not listen to that. Absolutely. So first of all, congratulations, you're thinking about it the right way. If you're trying to benchmark your performance and improve and understand where you fit in the kind of larger sphere of this world, you're already so far beyond what a lot of people are thinking, so kudos to you on that one. There are benchmarks for platforms. Those benchmarks dependent on your following. The one people are probably most interested in is Instagram, which is 2.9%. The way we look at that is total followers, and then you look at engagement is likes plus comments. So the average for the entire platform of 10,000 influencers is 2.9%. You can find your engagement rate on your 4-card profile under your Instagram stats. And I believe it shows you what the platform average is across all the platforms. So you can we are trying to benchmark that more, and you can continue to check your 4-card and you can see where your engagement rate is going. But as I was talking about before with experimenting, if you've hit a plateau with growth of your followers, sometimes you also hit a engagement plateau. And I would encourage the same thing. Experiment, try new things, watch your engagement rate. Again, post 4 times instead of 2 times, or 8 times instead of 4 times a day. see what happens to your engagement rate. Post different types of photos, post more photos yourself, whatever it is. Try something new, watch your engagement rate, and do more of that. An easy hack as well is just look at the last 3 months of content. Take your 10 most engaged photos, print them out, put them on the wall, and just take a look at it and see if you can find any common thread. And if you can find that thread, start posting more and more about those. But there's a lot of smart ways to just keep your engagement going up, but the biggest thing is to be watching it. So what's the lifespan of an influencer, or the half-life of an influencer? I think it depends. I always ask people, like, what's your exit plan for this, right? Because at some point we all get old and uninteresting, case in point, and people stop wanting to follow you, and so you have to think of a way that you are going to pivot, or you're going to move out of it, or just how you're going to continue to grow and be interesting. So I think there's a few different things you can do as an influencer. You can either get so big that you're just kind of in this echelon where it's going to be hard for you to fall out of favor. I would say something above 500,000, 750,000 followers, total followers, and you're in that level where it would be hard for you to completely kind of fall out of the industry and fall out of favor if you got to that level. The other is, taking the influence that you have and taking what you've learned and leveraging it into something else. This happened back in Tumblr, with some of the early Tumblr stuff that my business partner Rich was doing with Fashion Week. A lot of those bloggers, we called them at the time, they all jumped over into like traditional fashion jobs. They became editors, they went into social at brands, they became actual fashion photographers. So a lot of them use their influence to kind of jump ahead in the traditional world. So that's another way that you can do it. Or you can use your influence to sell products. You can create clothes, you can write books. That's been successful for a lot of people. Rémy's new line seems to be doing incredibly well out in LA. So I think that there's a lot that you can do. But I do think that it's important as an influencer to think about, like, what do I do in 3 years? What do I do in 5 years? Because at some point you do have to exit, and you have to kind of take this somewhere else. And if you don't do that, you kind of be probably sitting around with your pants around your ankles, just wondering what happened. That is it. Thank you for your questions, as always, and thank you to Rémy Martin for this delicious booze, which I'm going to finish right now. As always, hashtag a drink with James on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I'll keep drinking if you keep asking questions.